Hey guys, thanks for purchasing the Parkour Warrior Parents Night Out. So what I want to do is I want to run through some of the conditioning and also some of the drills that we're going to do for the Parents Night Out. Now the conditioning that we do for parkour is not meant to punish the kids and make them really sore. What it's meant to do is it's meant to prepare them for the moves that they're going to be learning throughout the Parents Night Out, and it will just equip them and get them used to how they should be moving their body for the different moves. So the first one that we're going to cover is called the butt scoot. And this one you sort of think like a dog when it's dragging its butt on the ground. So let me show you guys what you're going to do. So I recommend having the kids just do this going down the mat. Basically what they're going to do is the first time is they're going to start with their feet in front of them like this, and they're going to place their hands in front of their hips. Now all they're going to do is they're going to think about lifting their butt up and bringing it past their hands. So again, they straighten their legs, hands go past the hips, and then they get their butt to move forward. And we just have the kids do it all the way down and up the mat just to get them used to it. So then the next level for that is they do it with one leg, and that's gonna help them work their core. So they just pick up one foot, and then everything else is the same. So now instead of relying on their legs pulling so much, now they're starting to work their core more. So they bring the hands in front, and then they work on doing it with just one leg. Just like that. And then the most advanced version is with both feet in the air. And not all the kids are going to be able to do this, but what we usually do is we have them go down doing it the first variation I showed you with both feet on the ground. Then I say, all right, if you guys are doing great with that, if you want to move up to black belt level with this, now you're going to try it with one foot. And then this one we call 50-degree black belt level because they have both feet up in the air for it. So they're going to sit the same way, feet up, hands forward, they move their whole butt. Just like that. And that works their core a lot more. It's also going to work their triceps as well. So next, let's move on to our next conditioning exercise, which is the walkthrough. For the walkthrough, how it's going to work is they're going to have their hands down. They can have them flat or they can have them elevated a little bit. And what they're going to do is they're going to work on trying to walk from a push-up position all the way through to an extended position with their hips out. Now the first time they do it, they might start walking and they might get to this point and they might have to pick up a hand because maybe it's tough for them. So the first time it's okay if they pick up their hand a little bit and then walk through to get their hips up. And then they do the same thing going back, walking through, and again if they get stuck, have them pick one hand up for now and then walk back up to the push-up position. Most kids the first day doing this, that's about as far as they're gonna get. Now you have some kids that are crazy flexible or have a lot of core strength, and they'll be able to walk through right away without picking their hands up, and that'll be their goal to get down the way. And you'll see in our video, a few of our students were able to do it their first time like that. But we just wanna get them used to getting their feet forward and getting their hips extended and back to that push-up position, because this will help when they learn how to vault. Because a vault is essentially hands down and then feet come through. So it's just helping to prepare their body for that. Let's go on to our next conditioning exercise. All right, so the next conditioning drill I want to teach you is called our third world squat. So for this, I'm going to stand on the side of the mats just so you guys can see the full thing. My head won't get cut off then. So in third world squat, we're going to think about sort of like how people eat in third world countries. So that's actually what it's named after. So basically what the kids are going to do is they're going to squat down, they're going to keep their heels on the floor and get their butt low, almost like I said, like third world countries, how they eat. And then they're just going to explode up from that position. They'll go back down and explode up. And this helps them to sort of gain that explosiveness that they need for jumping far distances or high distances. So from the side, same thing, get them in the squat first. So have them start, because you see a lot of kids will do this and their heels will come up. So we want their heels to come up. So get them with their hands on the ground, their feet apart more. Then have them get their butt low. From here, arms out, and then push up, and then drop down. And this is gonna help to make their legs stronger. So some of the other moves will be a lot easier when they do them. So next, let's start going over our first actual parkour moves and parkour training. First one is going to be a safe landing. So So landing is the most important part of parkour, because if you can do the move and make it look cool in the air, but then you land on your face, not so cool in the end. You will get a lot of YouTube views though. But we want to make sure all the kids know how to land safely first. So we're going to do same level landings and also elevated landings to help them to get this down and learn how to land correctly and safely. So when they're landing their jump, they want to land on the balls of their feet and then go down to their heels. When they land flat-footed, that puts a lot of pressure on their joints, and it can make the landing actually hurt, which we don't want. Luckily, all of you guys have nice, safe mats for them to practice on, so if they make a mistake, they'll still be good to go. So flat landings, the way that you practice this is you just have them work on their jumping ability, and they're just going to work jumping ground level and landing on ground level. So you're just going to have them with their feet a little bit wider than their shoulders. They're going to bend their knees, arms here. I'm just going to jump and then work on landing on the balls of their feet. So again, they bend, swing, jump. Okay, and you can do that same thing with a tuck jump. So a tuck jump, the only difference is their knees are going to come to their chest. So they bend, jump, and then they want to shoot their legs right back after the tuck jump. Okay, just like that, working on landing on the balls of their feet. Now for the elevated landing, do the same thing just from a higher surface, okay? So the mats I have stacked up right now are sort of the level that we start off with the kids, that height. Now you can do this a few different ways. You can stack square mats like this. You can stack panel mats if you guys have the folding panel mats. I know a lot of you guys have the actual like gymnastics box or jump boxes. Any of those will work. Just make sure it's a safe and sturdy thing that they're jumping off of. I would not do it off of like a chair. That'd be bad news. So all they're gonna work on is they're gonna stand on here, and they're not gonna jump high, but they're just gonna work on almost falling off to their safe landing. Here's what I mean. So they'll stand up on top. I apologize if my head's getting cut off. They're gonna stand up on top, they have their arms out, and they're just gonna do a little fall and try and land as quiet as possible. So again, stand up here, arms in front. They're gonna do a little fall, and then work on being super quiet, very ninja-like when they're landing that jump from up high. So that's the second level is unit from there, and then you can also stack more mats to make it higher. We had the kids doing it from about here, and they did awesome with it. Even the little guys were doing great with it. So it's a lot of fun for them too, because it's not something that mom and dad usually let them do at home. All right, next, let's go over the next parkour skill that the kids will be learning at the Parents' Night Out. So the next move that we're going to teach everyone is called the safety vault, and this is one of the easier parkour moves for them to do. This is how it's done, really simple. Have them start on a height about this high, because the lower it is, the easier. Hands are going to go down first, and then the foot is going to come on the outside. And basically all they're doing is going to be pushing themselves up to their feet, just like that. So you have them practice on a shorter surface like this, again. Hands here, outside, and up. Okay, and then once they get used to that, you just sort of raise up the level a little bit and have them practice that way as well. The alternate version of this is you have them bring their foot up on the inside of their arms. So they go here, foot on the inside, and then push up. Okay, that was a little bit more challenging, especially as you get higher. So we usually recommend starting with the safety vault with your foot on the outside first. All right, next we're gonna work on the parkour roll. Next, we're going to work on the parkour roll, so I'll show you guys what that looks like. So if any of you guys teach how to do roll falls or break falls at your dojo or at your school, this is going to be very similar to that. The only difference is they're going to go off in 2 feet instead of 1, because I know a lot of our falls in like judo and karate, we roll off of 1 foot, just like that, to get to where we need to go. But parkour, since they're landing on 2 feet most of the time, they do land on 1 foot every once in a while, but 2 feet for at least for the Parents' Night Out purpose, they're gonna go off of 2 feet. So basically they're just gonna get their feet in this crouched position, okay, and their goal is to go to one shoulder, okay, so they're gonna go to their dominant shoulder. Now when they roll, they're gonna get that shoulder down to the ground, There's two different hand positions they can do. They can do it like a karate roll, which is totally cool, where they're gonna get their right shoulder to the ground, the right hand goes through to my opposite leg, and I roll right on my shoulder to get to my feet. So again, from this side, both hands on the ground. My right hand's gonna go in between my left hand and my left leg here. I'm gonna start to lean forward, get my shoulder to the ground, and I extend both my legs to roll up. Second way to do this is they have their hands actually by their shoulders. So from this position, they're gonna get their hands up here and lower themselves to their shoulders here, and then roll. It's important when they do this that they get their head to the opposite side that they're rolling. So again, if I roll to my right shoulder, my head has to go to the left here, roll, and then go. The way I would suggest teaching this is teach whichever one you're most comfortable with. I think most of you guys are gonna be more comfortable with the first one because that's very similar to a roll fall or a judo roll. And that might be an easier translation for you being able to teach it to them. Both of them are perfectly acceptable. Just make sure you focus on going off of two legs with them because they'll be doing this later on in the obstacle course as well. All right, let's go on to our next move. The next move we're gonna work on is the vault. Now, most likely no one's gonna be able to do a full vault at your parents' night out, so we're gonna start them very slow with it. So if you remember our safety vault, it's gonna start very similar. Hands are gonna go in front more though, and they're gonna go left leg, right leg first, like this. Very similar to what we do the safety vault. We're keeping both feet on the inside though. Okay, and then once they have that, they'll just stand up and hop off the other side, work on that landing. The second variation of this is where they jump and go get both feet up at the same time like this, and then they're gonna walk through and go down. So again, that second variation, they're gonna be going off of 2 feet. So hands here, jump off both feet, feet go through the middle of the arms. Okay, just work on getting their knees through, and then they'll step off to the other side. So that's all we're gonna stick with for this parent's night out. The advanced version would be to get their feet to go through without actually stopping on the mat, but that takes a little bit more than 2.5 hours to get down. So we're gonna focus on things that they can have fun doing, but will also not be too overwhelming for them for their first time doing parkour. Next, we're gonna go over different types of jumping techniques and combinations. All right, so the first jump we're going to work on today is the ledge jumps. So ledge jumps is simulating them jumping from one ledge to another. So I recommend using 2 body shields. You can also put 2 focus pads side by side. But they're going to get in lines for this, and they're going to work on doing 4 jumps in a row. So they'll go from here, jump, safety landing, then they'll turn without going off of it, safety landing, 3, and then 1 more, like that. And then the next person in line will go. For taller kids, you can always put it farther apart to make it a little bit more challenging with them. You can do the same drill just using puzzle mats. So for the puzzle mats, we'll use the right side so it's a little bit easier for you to see. Okay, so the red mats will just be like this, and they can do the same thing, jumping that way. I just use whichever equipment is easiest for you to use for that, and sort of go about it from there. So that's the first type of jumps, is the ledge jumps. The next jumps that we're going to work on are the precision jumps. So precision jumps just helps them go from one side to another. I'm going to demonstrate with the body shields again for this one. So this time, instead of putting them in a straight line, you're going to stagger them just a little bit. We'll grab one more, sorry. So pretty much precision jumps, they're just going to go from target to target. They're just going to work on getting both feet on, balls of the feet first, and then landing. You can do this in lines, or you can have one long stretch of staggered targets, and they go from target to target that way. After that, we do what we call the rooftop run. So again, rooftop run, we're going to set up using body shields. And we put a space in between each one, almost like they're mini rooftops. Now this one's going to be a little different than what we've done so far. This over here so you can see it still. So they're going to use one foot to take off with. So basically they're going to go, start on one target, go to the next, and then all the way off. So it's sort of like crouching tiger, hidden dragon when they're running across the water. So again, start from one side, and they're going to stride, just like they're running across the rooftops. And then, as they get that down to make it harder, bigger spaces between, so that way they have to keep the run going. Make sure that they have plenty of room at the end of their stride jumps to make sure that they're not going to run into anything, because they'll need some time to slow down at the end. So if you do the staggered version, very similar. This is sort of going to be the next level for them. So this is after you've already spaced it apart, and now they just go, okay, side to side, going over the targets. So next we're going to work on the quad step. Quad step is very similar to what you see on American Ninja Warrior. So basically, we're going to have the targets this way now. Put them a little closer together as far as distance, vertical distance goes, but they're going to be a little bit farther apart sideways. Okay, we usually start about here for the kids, and then we, after we have it in this position, move this over so you guys can see better. Once we have this position, we'll start gradually making them wider apart to make it more challenging. So usually we start, when they're closer, the kids will try and go 1 foot. So we go side to side to side to side, and then go. Then once you move them farther apart, then they're working on sticking their landings more, and they'll jump. Both feet on, find the next target, see it with their eyes, jump, jump, and they'll start doing it that way. But your goal is to have them transition from that and gradually make it harder as they do it, and that's one of the favorite parts for the kids to do because very much reminds them of American Ninja Warrior. Once you guys are done with all the different types of jumps, then you go to the obstacle course where we pretty much put everything that they've learned together, and we have a video of our students doing the obstacle course so you can sort of see how the parkour course works, and there's some really cool music that goes with it. Sort of makes it feel like they're actually on the show American Ninja Warrior, so it just helps to fuel their imagination even more. So I hope you guys enjoyed all the parkour tricks, moves, and conditioning. If you have any questions, just hit me up on Facebook, Adam Kiefer, or shoot me an email, info@levelupmymusic.com. Thanks a lot, guys, and have an awesome Parents' Night Out.